Hey, you're here.
Barely.
Barely.
I just realized that I'm still wearing my shirt from St. Patrick's Day. And
Well, that's okay because St. Patrick's Day is coming up pretty soon.
no, it already happened, dude. It was Sunday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, where was I?
You probably somewhere fun.
No, no wonder I didn't see much traffic. Everybody must have been out
Yeah.
having a good time except me.
I kind of just saw it on the floor and I was like, oh, I must have forgot to put that up. And then I put it on and it smells like St. Patrick's Day. So
I and I forgot to tune in to see the Green River in Chicago.
yeah. We had a green river here in our backyard.
Did you?
Yeah, we spilled a lot of green beer.
Oops. Oops.
Yeah. It made my grass look great.
Yeah, yeah. Now the grass looks completely lush back there, right? Ah, amazing. How you doing? What's happening?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Tired, thinking about getting old and
What you're
yeah.
if you're thinking about getting old, where does that put me?
Well, you're there. You made it. You made it. You
I'm
successfully made it and you're rocking it out.
I,
So
I'm there. I've been over the mountain and I've seen the other side.
well, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I joke about it, getting older. I joke. I because I don't feel old until recently. Occasionally, somebody will say something. Somebody I work with will be, I'll talk about music or a movie, and they're like, "Man, I haven't seen that." I'm like, "How have you seen that yet?" And then I'm like, "That came out in 2001," and they're like, "I was born in," and I'm like, oh, "Okay, shh, just shh, you know."
Right,
Um, but or they tell me, "Hey, have you seen this? It's kind of an older movie, and it came out 10 years ago." I'm like, "Shut up, dude,"
right.
But the other day, because Texas is drunk most of the time when it comes to weather, and we had those 90-degree days in February.
Right.
But Luke and I were taking advantage of it, and it was on a weekend. I was off, and I was like, dude, we're not gonna. He likes to go outside, but I'm like, let's. I really want to like spend some time outside. I don't want to just go for an hour or two, and then and I like both days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, let's find time outside. So we did. We had a blast, but we went to a park, and it was a different park. Went and explored, and I was like, let's go hit a park we haven't hit before, or hit in a while, and it was great. We had a blast, and then we went, kind of did a walk, and they had these great hills. Not like this. This is like Ireland or something amazing, but it had like nice hills, and a bunch of kids were running up and down the hill. And Luke's like, Dad. I'm like, oh, bro, we're going. That's obvious.
Right.
And so we did. And he's like, Dad, it's hard to run up the hill. I'm like, let's go, boy. And so I start like, like, you better hurry up. And we were running, and he loved running down. And then a couple kids were kind of rolling, but not all the way. And Luke looks at me and goes, I dare you to roll down the hill. And I'm like, oh, do you know who your dad is? Like, watch me. So, I rolled down the hill. Now, I have to put a couple disclaimers in there. One is I don't like getting dizzy. I can't really do roller coaster rides that go like this anymore. I don't like it. Feeling dizzy is like the worst. When I was younger, not that I enjoyed it, but it didn't bother me. Like even
Right.
like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, it didn't bother me. Now I hate it.
Especially
Um,
when you haven't been drinking.
right, exactly. And I was like, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, well, I'll just close my eyes and I'm going to roll. I'm going to keep, I know how to roll. I've been, and I rolled and I rolled and I rolled. And then I didn't even make it down the hill. I stopped and I was like sprawled out, grass all over me. World is spinning. My brain is leaking out of my ears. And Luke comes running down the hill and he's like, Daddy, all right? I'm like, no, I'm going to die. He's like, what? And I go, I'm going to throw up right now and I'm going to die. And he's like, why'd you do it? I'm like, bro, you dared me. And
That's right. Yeah.
I laid there with my eyes closed and I honestly felt, I'm going to tell you right now, that was worse than any hangover I've ever had in 45 years. That was worse than any sick spell. I really thought for that minute I was going to puke on the lawn. And I laid there, and then finally I like, it lasted. I mean, the dizzy went away, but my feeling, it was a good 2 hours where I felt like dog crap. And I looked at him and I was like, bad idea. I'm not doing that again. I go, Luke, you finally found the one thing that dad is not going to do with you is roll down the hill. He's like, well, if I do it, I go, I don't care what you do, kid. That's on you. You
That's
got to
right.
learn your own lessons.
And please don't ever dare me to do it again.
I can't do it. I'm never doing it again. I'm never rolling down the hill again. It was the stupidest thing I ever did. And I am come to the conclusion that that is something you shouldn't do when you're over 40, maybe. At least over 40 and who I am.
For a lot of reasons, because once you roll down that hill and you stand up, you realize that some of the parts aren't moving the way they were before you rolled down the hill.
Yeah, look, my body felt great. My head was a mess.
Well,
I'll run up and down it. I'll run up and down every day. No problem.
Brandon, after a while, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. After a while, if you roll down that hill, your head would be okay, but your body would be wasted.
Oh God. I just thinking about it makes me sick.
Just as you get older, you realize that I'll take the elevator up and maybe I'll take the stairs down. But you try to avoid the stairs going up.
I think like, I mean, there's a couple other things, and like you hear about people saying like, no, when you should do what you want when we're older. And yeah, you should.
Oh,
But
yeah.
let's be real. I know they're like, well, what about that 90-year-old that went skydiving? Man, good for the 90-year-old. Like maybe when I'm 90, that's what I'll do because I realize I don't have a long time, But there's certain things like number one, I don't drink like I used to. And forget age. That's just smart, But every now and then I get a little, I'm like, I got a bug up my butt and the night's going good. I better have the day off. Because
yeah.
I don't want to get up early. And it's not to say I can't. When my buddy Steve came to Texas and we did the whirlwind tour, I got like an hour and a half sleep and then went to work. Look, that was not fun. I was hurting. But I did it, but I don't want to do it.
Well, and I find as you get older too, your tastes in food need to be altered.
You think so?
You sometimes you just can't handle the spicy foods like you used to. Like for me, I mean, I used to love put everything on my pizza, the onions, the peppers, the pepperoni, everything. If I do that today, I can tell you where I'm going to spend a fair amount of time overnight and the next day.
It's a good way to lose weight.
Yeah.
Well, I also think you have to adjust for, here's another thing. God, I'm a mess. Lately, I've been a mess. You got to adjust because cholesterol. You got to adjust, your blood pressure. I found out recently, I had prior to rolling down that hill, I have not been feeling very good. I wake up and I'm lightheaded, not dizzy, but lightheaded a lot. It was going on for about a week or two. And I couldn't figure out why. I drink a ton of water. I mean, that's all I do is drink.
Yeah.
Take my daily vitamins, but I couldn't figure out why. The only time that it really didn't happen was when I was out of town in Waco for business. But then like I'd be sitting there with Luke, like making his lunch, and I'm like, man, I don't feel good. Like I just want to go to bed. Well, I went to the doctor because if you WebMD everything, you're dead. You're dying. Everything is death. It's like high blood pressure or a rare disease that 1 in 50 million people get, and you have it. So I went to the doctor and they ran tests because I took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was through the roof. Never happened to me before. Through the roof. It was in that, where they rate it and they're like, you need to go to the hospital. I was in the you need to go to the hospital range. And I'm like, I'm not going to the hospital. And then I was like, I'll take it later. And I took it a couple hours later and it dropped a little, but it was still high. Partially my fault. Don't drink coffee and take your blood pressure, by the way. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know that because I'm an idiot. But then I took it the next day and it was still a little high. And I'm like, okay, I got to figure out what's going on. And so I went to the hospital. Blood pressure's perfect. not hospital, doctor, sorry.
Yeah.
Had a doctor appointment. She checked my blood pressure and she's like, dude, you're good. And I'm like, I was like, I didn't have any coffee this morning and I haven't eaten since last night. She's like, okay, but you're good. And I'm like, okay. And I told her what happened. She's like, food, activity, who knows? She's like, if you have one of the wrist blood pressure thingies, which I do, they can kind of, And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then she draws blood, whatever, takes a little, my cholesterol is a little higher than I'd like it. So, lose a little weight, cut the salt out, cut the fatties, boom, see what I can do.
In other words, just give up on life in general.
Yeah, it's my mom's fault anyway, because she's got high blood pressure,
Yeah,
high cholesterol. So, but I have to drop it down a little, no problem. I can do it, And then I was like, well, what about this lightheadedness? And she's like, dude, your iron is so stupid low. And I'm like, that makes sense. I said, yeah, I was supposed to be taking iron supplements. And she's like, have you? And I said, not in the last like 3 months. And she's like,
yeah,
okay, you idiot. Like that can cause it. And then they went down the laundry list of why. Protein, lack of protein. And I was like, well, I run. And she's like, what do you give back to your body? And I'm like, eggs sometimes. And she's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, and it is the most common thing. And I guess I just stopped taking the iron supplements because I ran out. And then I felt fine. I was like, well, I got it under control. So now back on my iron. I am running. I'm the salt I'm cutting out for the most part. And I've been consistently eating what I should be. It's been like a week and a half. I haven't felt anything. I've just felt normal. Well,
there you go. And you don't eat much red meat, do you?
I don't, but I am working in, I'm working in like, cause I like steak and stuff, but I just try not to, but I realize, you want to get some good iron boost. Right. So I try to work that in occasionally. I'll put some veggies in it, maybe a couple potatoes, like sweet, like the, whatever those round potatoes are, but definitely veggies. And I'll do a steak every, once a month or twice, maybe if I feel like it. I eat a lot of fish, like salmon, chicken, but I was looking back at my diet during that time when I wasn't feeling good. And I'm not saying I was eating bad. I just wasn't eating enough. I just think I literally went through of like the training, the working, and I'd go for a run and then have a couple eggs, and then I wouldn't eat again till dinner. And then dinner was like a chicken salad. Like there just wasn't enough. Like, so, I wouldn't even, the protein wasn't there, or I would just eat a salad and I'm like, where'd the protein go? Like, it's great that you're eating veggies, but bro,
throw some protein on the salad.
That's it. So, but those are things that, again, not that you should do that when you're younger, but you can get away with it a lot more.
Right. Well, when we're younger, we usually are more active. So you are burning up the calories that you're putting in. As you get older, sometimes you're not as active, and also the calories are going in and they're just staying there. You're not burning them up.
And the other thing too, like, and again, for me, like typically in an average day, I can get like, just with work, not including running, not including like playing with Luke or just average walking, I can get about 15,000, 18,000 steps in, maybe 20 at work. So by the end of the day, I could be approaching like 28,000, 29,000. Well, I had a whole week where I was in class.
You were sitting in a class.
Sitting on my butt. And that's happened a couple times. I'm not used to that. Yeah. I mean, my Apple Watch is going off saying, get up, buddy. Like, and then I'd look at the end of the day and it'd be like 4,000 steps. And I'm like, so, I mean, there's things like that, the little tweaks that we have to do as we get older doesn't mean we can't do the things we want, but we got to adjust them.
Yeah, I'll give you another tip when you get older, and that is that if you decide you want to go to a movie, like in the afternoon or even in the evening sometime, always go to an action movie. because if you go to a rom-com movie in the afternoon in a movie theater, you especially if it's one of those reclining seats or something, you're going to get a nice nap and not remember a thing about the movie.
My favorite time always to go in the movies is early morning,
Yeah.
because nobody's there. Or I am a late night fan. I just saw Dune Part 2, and I went. That wasn't late, but I saw Madam Web. Unfortunately, nobody should see that garbage movie, dumpster fire. I thank God I didn't have to pay for it. But I saw that late, and I like that. I like the late movies too, though, because I can go in and just like after work on a Thursday at like 9:30 at night and just get a beer or just get a good snack and zone out. But I would fall asleep in the afternoon regardless.
Yeah. And I mean, there have been times that I've even fallen asleep during an action movie, but you go to see
Sure.
something like Dune with a cast of thousands and everything,
Oh,
and
phenomenal.
it keeps your attention pretty good.
God, Dune was great, guys. I'm not trying to go sidetrack, but Dune was great.
Just- so, but also as you get older, vigorous is a word that you kind of escapes your vocabulary. You don't do vigorous anything other than vigorous eating.
Well, and you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do that, but you enjoy your food
You
more.
can enjoy it more. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, there's lots of things that you find yourself saying, I remember when I used to do that. I mean, I remember when I was a runner. I remember when I used to go play soccer. I remember when I used to even play baseball or
Sure.
basketball. That doesn't work anymore. The knees are shot, the ankles are getting weak, and you just can't do it. And so all of a sudden, somebody goes out and invents this thing called pickleball because it's not quite tennis and it's a
It's
little more than ping
crazy.
pong, you
It's
know.
crazy.
And it's
Pickleball is exhausting though.
yeah, so now it's become a craze, if you can handle it.
And they got those two new places. One's in Allen that just opened up, and one's Colony, Louisville area. It's called Pickle something, and it's a restaurant bar, and the whole top of it is like pickleball.
Pickleball. Oh,
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
I want to go out and watch a cricket game sometimes. There's a couple cricket leagues.
They just built that place, isn't
A
it, here in
stadium.
Frisco, or am I tripping?
Yeah, yeah. But hey, anyway, as we get older, you become avid, you know, bench warmers. You sit in the stands and you watch everything. You don't participate in anything anymore, but
I
you're a good
know.
fan.
We're in that spot. We're trying to figure out what to do for Luke next. He keeps bringing up soccer again, which is fine. He doesn't want me as a coach again, though. And
Yeah, you told the story where he'll play soccer as long as you're not his coach.
I know. And I'm like, bro, I was a good coach, man. But whatever. I guess he just wants me to watch. And then, he's looking at some jujitsu, kung fu stuff. He keeps talking basketball because we've been playing basketball a lot. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm not going to tell you no. I think that kid should try everything and just figure it out.
Absolutely.
But I'm also like, you don't got the height, buddy.
Yeah, unless you're a point guard that's got a hell of a 3-point shot.
Yeah, or Spud Webb or something,
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I want him to try anything. I don't care what he tries, like if you try it and you stick with it for that season or that time and then like, Dad, I don't want to do it. That's cool. I'm not going to force you to do it, but I'm also not going to stop encouraging you from trying. And I'm definitely not going to allow you to just not do anything.
And you also got to watch out when he says, Dad, show me how.
Well, yeah, no, I was making baskets. He's like, you're good. And I'm like, bro, I'm not good.
Yeah.
Trust me. Okay. But I can shoot, but I ain't good. I'm just better than you because I'm a little bit taller,
Yeah. Just be careful if he decides he wants to try like the high jump or the pole vault or something. He says, Dad, show me how to do this.
I think the fighting thing is going to happen. I mean, I've been boxing with him for a while, like legitimately teaching him how to box and hit and protect himself. So I think that could probably hit. That could probably happen. I don't know. We'll see. But again, I'm getting older. This kid's clocking me in the head, and I'm like, oh, geez. Yeah. like we had to get, like, I had to finally adjust my headgear, because before I was like, whatever, and he's just kind of, but now he's got the punch, and he's just like, boom, putting his body in it. I'm like, I'm gonna order some headgear from Amazon,
Right. And maybe padding up the rooms a little bit.
Yeah. This kid's vicious.
Getting that thicker carpet for the floor.
Like, he's coming, like, I come in the bedroom, he's got his boxing gloves on, and he's jumping off the bed. He's like, Superman punch. And I'm like, oh, I got a cracked lip, and I come in, I'm like, what happened? I'm like, Luke kicked my butt,
Hey, you were a fan of wrestling too.
Exactly.
So, all of a sudden he wants to try some wrestling moves on you.
Absolutely. I power bomb him on the bed all the time. And then now he's like, Dad, watch this. When he's dropping a stone cold stunner. And I'm like, oh God, my neck.
Well, whatever you want to do out there, go out and have some fun with it, but be careful, because as you get older, the bones ain't exactly holding up the way they used to.
No, eat right, take your vitamins, listen to Hulk Hogan, and there you go.
That's right. And also don't forget to come back and see us again next week.
Yes.
Bye.